Welcome to the WWE Podcast, your place for the most passionate wrestling analysis on the web.
Just turn Roman heel. What is WWE waiting for?
When other wrestling podcasts put you to sleep, you can count on the WWE Podcast to keep you engaged and asking for more.
I've been watching wrestling for over 20 years, and that was one of the best matches I've ever seen.
This is unlike any other wrestling analysis. So without any further delay, let's get the show started right now.
All right, welcome to the WWE Podcast on this Wednesday, January 8th. 2020. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. And Ashley Mann's back. So we are going to get into the discussion all about the Royal Rumble and the current product and where things could go and what possible huge returns are on the horizon, including the ones that have been just circulating around the dirt sheets of Edge's return at the Royal Rumble. CM Punk, is he even a remote possibility? So many different things that are happening. What does it mean that Brock Lesnar is entering at number one, and what would it mean if he won? So we cover all the bases here, and I know that you guys have been asking where Ashley is, and she's here. She's here today, and typically this is my wrestling nostalgia, which I will push off until another day. I promise I will get one in, and it will be something that is appropriate for Royal Rumble time. I'll leave it at that. So again, guys, thank you for joining me as we close in on the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Just 18 days away as I record this show on a January 8th evening. So it's my favorite pay-per-view of the year. Yeah, WrestleMania is in some ways because it's the biggest, but it's also the longest, which is not my favorite thing in the world. WrestleMania is a damn marathon. It will challenge any pro wrestling fan, no matter how hardcore, ardent, or as big of a mark as you think you are for the business. The fact of the matter is, WrestleMania is a damn marathon. And especially for those in person, it's challenging to bladders, it's challenging to patience, it's challenging to keep your body awake. I actually fell asleep during the main event of WrestleMania last year. I'm not ashamed to say that. I fell asleep during the main event of WrestleMania because by that time I'd been watching wrestling for 6 hours. And I could not just physically keep my eyes open anymore. And I was completely drained by the time the main event came around. And again, I mean, that's why I love the Rumble, because it's not 6 hours. It's probably 4, maybe a little over 4. But the format of the Royal Rumble is a damn genius move. I believe was invented by Pat Patterson. And it is just, I love the format. I love the unpredictability. I love the what's next. I love who could come out. So many different feuds within feuds and stories within stories and alliances you don't expect to see and rivalries that are teased and so many different awesome moments and who gets eliminated and how does Kofi stay afloat this year. And I mean, there's so many mini stories within this massive Royal Rumble match story that it's one of my favorite times of the year, favorite pay-per-view of the year. So I'm really excited to have Ashley here as we go over all the possibilities, all the rumors, and things start to really, really heat up, getting closer to WrestleMania. And this is the time to be a fan. This is where non-fans come back. I've said that before. And this is where true fans start to really dig in their heels and create scenarios and what could happen. And we'll get big hints, I'm sure, for some of the matches at WrestleMania at the Royal Rumble. Namely, I think, without giving away too much of the farm here, that whoever Brock Lesnar faces at WrestleMania will likely eliminate him from the Royal Rumble. I do not believe Brock will win, so I don't think I'm burying the lead too much there because we have a lot of content to cover with Ashley, and you'll enjoy the conversation. But just off the bat, I don't think Brock wins. Be a hell of an interesting day at the office if he does, though. I just don't see a scenario in which he does, in which what makes sense either. But that's why this WrestleMania or this Royal Rumble match is so damn intriguing on so many different levels. So we got a lot to discuss with Ashley. We really run the gamut here. But before we get to all of that, I want to let you know that on Patreon, I just launched my first video podcast where I had a video stream running while I recorded my Monday Night Raw review show last night. So check that out at patreon.com/WWE podcast if you want to check me out. And I know that the video quality is not awesome, so I'm aware of that. I have a resolution coming. I used my laptop webcam. That was a big mistake. I'll be using my iPhone 11, which has infinitely better quality in terms of the lighting and the picture quality. So that will be my camera from now on. So video quality will improve, but video is now there. Video is official on the Patreon feed, which is only available there. And I'll be doing just kind of drop-in videos, latest thoughts, if there's some news coming out about WWE or hirings, firings, returns, all that kind of stuff, suspensions, all the stuff that makes the wrestling community, the internet wrestling community, the IWC, the Smarks go crazy. I'll be doing some random video thoughts there as well. But again, that's only for Patreon at this time. Head on over. You can get yourself not just the video, but you can also get yourself on the feed that gives you an ad-free experience for the entire library of this show. The entire library is available on patreon.com/WWE podcast, where all of these programs, all of them, are 100% ad-free. So that's a really cool deal, and it's only $1 a month, which breaks down to, oh my God, what's $1 divided by 30, right? So pennies a day. So, all right, well, guys, that's my plug, but I want to get to the conversation with Ashley. It was just great to be able to reunite with her. Just crazy holidays and personal lives going crazy, and hopefully things are now calming down, that the holidays are over. And finally able to connect with Ashley. As I said, we originally scheduled for the Saturday show to do the week in review. Mary stepped up, which was awesome talking to her. And Ashley, I said, we got to have you on this week. Put her on Wednesday, even though it's a wrestling nostalgia night. But we'll sacrifice a wrestling nostalgia night for Ashley. It was totally worth it. So great to have her back on the show. I know that the fans love her. The fans really love all my co-hosts. I mean, it's really a blessing to have co-hosts that all of the listeners love. So, guys, thank you for all that. But Ashley's back. Let's just get to it. Enough talk. Here's Ashley and myself discussing all things Royal Rumble, rumors, everything else. Until then, guys, as always, tomorrow I'll be back with your NXT and AEW. Well, AEW is probably going to be on tomorrow. NXT will be on Friday as your co-host Chris and Zach cover those, and I'll be back Saturday with your weekend review, guys. Until then, I'll talk to you next time. Okay, she's back. Ashley Mann is back, guys. She is here to discuss with me Royal Rumble. It is the Rumble season. We are 18 days away from the Royal Rumble, my favorite pay-per-view of the year. Yes, more so than the WrestleMania because of the insane length that WrestleMania is. And I'm excited to talk Rumble. Ashley, it's really great to have you back on the show. I know people have been asking where you are, and I found you.
Yes, you found me. I'm so happy to be back. Thank you for being so patient, you and everyone. I'm so happy to be back and talking to you. And yes, I agree with you. The Royal Rumble is actually my favorite pay-per-view as well. Just the whole dynamic and just the whole concept was just always so intriguing to me. And the fact that you never know who's the next person out was just captivating to me. So yeah, I'm super excited to be talking Rumble and Raw and SmackDown and it's just everything that's been happening in the past couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, there is a heck of a lot going on, a ton of returns that happened over the last week between Big Show, the Usos, Sheamus, John Morrison, and you go down the line of also rumored people to be coming in the Rumble, which I'll get to as well and want your thoughts on, including Edge, which is swirling around like mother effing crazy, and I want to ask your opinion on that as well. So first, I want to ask, now, the Royal Rumble is only 18 days away, and we've timed this out. You will be, of course, the preview show, prediction show for Royal Rumble, just because the wrestling gods will have it no other way.
Right.
So you will be the co-host for that show, so that's going to be really interesting as far as what happens over the next 2 weeks if our predictions change. And this isn't a prediction show by any means, but as of right now, January 8th, if you were to have to pick somebody, you have to pick somebody that is going to win the Royal Rumble. Whew, who do you think? I mean, there are some big front runners, right? The odds-on favorite is Roman Reigns. I mean, he clearly is the odds-on favorite for good reason. But you have other people. You have Kevin Owens. You have Samoa Joe in there. You have Brock Lesnar at number 1. I mean, there's a lot that could happen. If you were to pick today, who would you pick to win the Rumble?
As much as I hate to say it, I would have to choose Roman Reigns right now. And that's just purely because everything else is so up in the air. And when we look at the two champions, Roman Reigns is the only one that could logically face either one of them. Right? And it make the most sense out of anyone else that I can think of offhand. Unless, of course, either of the titles changes hands before then. But assuming they're not, and assuming everything is how it is, let's say WrestleMania was tomorrow and we had to make our predictions, I would say Roman Reigns would probably be facing The Fiend, just because I think WWE, if anything else, they've learned not to go back to Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, or I hope, because one of my other friends on my other show, he said that if it ends up being Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, he will sell his WrestleMania ticket because he is not going to support that. So, and I believe him. And he's just one person. So out of many people, it's just, I have a bad feeling there, Matt, that, we could be going down that route. But yes, so. Yeah.
I'm with you, and I'm asking myself the same question about who I think could win the Rumble, and there are some really good candidates. I named 4 or 5 there, and if I'm going to pick one, I mean, the only reason I'm going to pick this is because it's probably the second logical choice is Kevin Owens winning the Royal Rumble match to face Brock Lesnar. That is my pick, and the only reason that's my pick is because I think that having Roman Reigns win the Rumble would remind people why they disliked Roman Reigns, and would stir up issues and feelings from 5 years ago in Philly. And when they trolled the fans the following year of making Roman Reigns number 30 and basically trying to anger the fans that, oh my God, he's going to win again, and just poking the bear. But I think that Roman Reigns will still get to the main event of WrestleMania. Don't forget, there's 2 roads. There's the person who wins the Rumble, and then there's the person in the other brand that has to branch their own story to get to the main event of WrestleMania and face the champion. So I think having Roman Reigns not win and having him go to WrestleMania a different way on SmackDown by going through a tournament or some other means, or maybe The Fiend just flat out attacks him, and then you have The Fiend versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, which is ultimately where I think you're going. I think that's a safer road for the Roman Reigns babyface character than to have him win the Rumble and stir up those bad feelings of, oh yeah, wait a minute, he's not facing Baron Corbin anymore. He's going after The Fiend, one of the most creative, original characters WWE has had in I don't know how long, decades, right?
Oh, for sure, easily.
So that's my pick is Kevin Owens, because I think that you'd never have a Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar match at WrestleMania again. Maybe not ever again would these two ever have a one-on-one match. We've seen it. My God, what was it, in 2017, 2018? We saw it 5 times. I mean, like in the Saudi events. I mean, we saw it at SummerSlam, at WrestleMania. We've seen it at WrestleMania 31. We don't need it again. We just don't. So I agree. Tell your friend if he doesn't sell it, I will sell it for him. Come on.
Right.
So, all right. Well, so you heard it here first. Kind of a very early prediction that you have Roman, I have Kevin Owens. Now, as far as kind of the other things going on in the Rumble here, you have Brock Lesnar entering himself at number 1, not putting the championship on the line, but putting himself number 1, and doing it so that he can prove that he is, I don't know, the most physically dominating combat athlete WWE has ever had, and not putting the championship on the line. But imagine if, and again, this is not the odds-on favorite, but it's in the universe of possibility of Brock Lesnar winning it. Now, take me down that road. If Brock Lesnar wins, who does he face? Brock Lesnar, or does he face The Fiend? You'd have to face The Fiend unless. I don't know. I don't even know what they would do if a champion wins the Rumble.
And I think a little part of Vince is so intrigued by that possibility that it may be one of those last-minute decisions that we so infamously hear about, like the day of, and he may just pull the trigger and have Brock win, because then it it just leaves us with a whole other question of what's Brock going to do next? Who is he going to face on WrestleMania? What's going to happen on Raw? So it would force people to tune in the very next night and the weeks to follow to see how it plays out. So I could see that happening. I mean, not for nothing, I would be curious as well. I wasn't expecting this when Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar showed up on Raw. So I'm very intrigued to see what they end up doing with this going forward. I'm trying to hold back judgment on it. I wasn't really excited when I first heard it, but after thinking about it a little bit further, I'm kind of interested to see how it plays out, because we already know Brock is going to enter first. Then, of course, the next logical question is who's going to be second. And I think it would be so fun to have Matt Riddle come out as number 2 just because of the trolling that he's been doing in the years. And why not, with NXT being so popular right now? So that could just be something fun, but that just leads to so many other scenarios and possibilities that you can have play out in the Rumble itself. So I'm intrigued by this. And not for nothing, like, if you really think about it, it's really smart on Brock Lesnar's part and Paul Heyman, because he doesn't have to defend his title at the Royal Rumble, and he has the possibility of winning the whole thing, so that eliminates one, at least, possibility of one other guy who would end up facing him at WrestleMania. So it's actually kind of smart. It's kind of like a win-win for him. So even if he gets eliminated, so what,
Yeah, who cares? He's got nothing to lose. He's guaranteed to go to the main event of WrestleMania because his championship's not on the line.
His championship's not on the line. Yeah, and then granted, I'm sorry, whoever ends up eliminating him, I'm sure that's how they'll initiate that storyline, which I would be fine with, but if he doesn't end up winning. But yeah, Brock comes out great in this scenario, I think.
It really does. And he's not going to lose it at Elimination Chamber or Fastlane or whatever pay-per-view that they have, those 2 pay-per-views in between Rumble and Mania. No, the championship in all likelihood is going to stay on Brock until Mania. So, yeah, it's a house money match for Brock because he has 0 to lose and everything to gain. And like you said, Brock is number 1, but what's most intriguing is who's number 2. As you said, Matt Riddle is certainly interesting. Even if you had Roman Reigns come out there and just kind of, have them do a stalemate until number 3, 4, 5, and you stack up the guys until someone comes out and does it, clears the ring. Like maybe Big Show is in there, he'll have a spot and then get eliminated. Or, what they'll do is build up the ring and then let Braun Strowman come out and he'll clear the ring and it builds back up. It's just this big cycle. And what I like too with Brock in there, I think he will last quite some time, maybe into the last 5 or 6 guys, maybe the last 3, 4 guys. Just the scenarios you could do with Brock with all those guys in the ring is, like you said, it's so damn intriguing. Rather than just having him face somebody one-on-one, it's Brock versus everybody. He's going to last a long time. The dynamics of who he's going to interact with, who he could have a face-off with, just to see how the crowd reacts when he goes face-to-face, as you said, with Matt Riddle, with Keith Lee. I mean, there's guys that I would love to see him go face-to-face with. That's why the Rumble is just so awesome, because it creates rivalries that you don't expect or are looking forward to. It creates alliances that are unlikely. The whole thing is genius, and you never get bored during the Rumble, because by the time you're getting a little bit bored, you see the countdown clock and the people are, you know what I mean? It's an hour that goes by faster than any hour you've ever had.
Oh, easily. And that's the whole fun. That's the best part about it is wondering who the next person is going to be who's coming out. But the thing that I'm kind of intrigued by as well, and I kind of want to get your take on, is do you think they're planting the seeds here for a Brock babyface turn? Or because in a way it's kind of odd because he's stacking the odds against himself, if you kind of look at it in a certain way. Entering, I guess maybe not because he's not defending the title, but still, like, he's putting himself in a situation where he's facing 29 other opponents who all want to come after him, supposedly. So do you think there's maybe seeds being planted here, or is just Heyman just coming out here and just looking out for Brock and not making him defend the title?
So, if you're going to put me on the spot, I will say I think it's probably not. And the reason I think it's probably not planting seeds for a babyface turn is you could also look at this. The promo was directed towards arrogance. It was him feeling so confident and so arrogant that he could just beat 29 other guys rather than doing it out of respect. it's done out of arrogance, and I think that's the place that it came from. And Paul Heyman said it's like pretty much flat out that is the reason he's doing this, and he's not putting himself out there to say, hey, who wants to step up and face Brock for the championship? Brock is doing this in a selfish way to prove that he's the man. So I don't see that coming. On top of that, I think that it's going to end up being Kevin Owens versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. That's my guess right now. And so having a heel Brock lose to a babyface that's up and coming like Kevin Owens makes more sense than having Brock go babyface and everyone hoping he retains the championship. Although that wouldn't work because everyone knows he's an absentee champion anyway. So him as the absentee guy that doesn't want to be there, perceived doesn't want to be there, gets paid a bunch of money to make extremely limited appearances. It all just fits right now for him to be a heel. Although I still love Brock Lesnar. Like, I look at him and I still love the damn guy.
Everyone
I know he's not
still
there a
gets
lot.
Excited,
Yes,
you know?
yes. I don't think people understand or really just take into consideration how special Brock Lesnar is. People look at him and as, oh, it's Brock's here. He's going to stand there and Paul's going to cut a promo. But the guy, Brock Lesnar's stardom doesn't come along very often. I mean, he's a guy that comes in once a generation.
You know, exactly. And Brock Lesnar is one of those guys. He kind of reminds me of John Cena in the sense that he's one of those guys that we are starting to complain and moan about being here and taking the spotlight and all that. But I guarantee you the second Brock is gone, we're going to miss him. Just like John Cena. Granted, I'm not saying everyone is dying for John Cena to come back, but it's noticeable now. Like you kind of like it's kind of like an Undertaker type thing. Like, oh, I wonder if John Cena is going to show up this year or if he's going to have a WrestleMania moment. Like, it's kind of leading into that. So I just, a lot of people hate on Brock Lesnar. And yes, would I want him to be around more frequently, especially if he's going to be the champion? Yeah, but we just got to kind of appreciate his stardom and what he adds to the WWE brand while we can.
Exactly, because we have to understand, if you've been watching wrestling for 5-10 years, you know that Brock Lesnar's not the future of the company. Brock Lesnar he's an attraction star that is still ultra talented, but he's not going to ever be the guy that is carrying the company on his back, making house show appearances, busting his ass, doing all these live event signings.
And he never wanted to be, or pretended to be.
Never. And I think we have to recognize that Brock is on the back end of his career, and he's there to, and if I were Vince McMahon, I would hope that this is the philosophy, that he's there to make other stars. He's there to build up other guys, and he's not there to say, send a message to fans that he's the future. So I appreciate every appearance I see by Brock. I appreciate every appearance I see by Undertaker, as much of a shell of a performer as he was back in the 90s. I still appreciate the fact that there's going to come a day where it is truly over and we're going to go, oh man, I really miss hearing the gong. I miss seeing an F5.
Just hearing that entrance,
Exactly. So, oh man. The other thing that I wanted to touch on, as far as rumors go, do you think there's any credibility to Edge's return at the Rumble? And really, second part to that, is there any credibility to his return overall?
That is probably one of the hardest ones, injury related wise. Just thinking back to all the episodes I heard and I listened to on his podcast, and just like how he would describe the severity of his injury and how, he was obviously forced to retire, and just how he doesn't want to put his health in jeopardy for his kids, because obviously he has a family now and things are very different now than what they were however many years ago. No, I don't think he's coming back. I think he may come back in like a personality type, or maybe like a manager role, but I don't see it in ring at all. And I would love him to, but I could see him as kind of like what Christian's doing, like showing up on backstage and talking about the product, and maybe, filling in on commentary here and there, because he was always a very good talker. Just like a down to earth and believable guy. So I could see him coming back for that, but I hope not in ring unless he is 100% cleared, and I don't know, but I don't think so.
So I'm gonna actually say there is some credibility to his return, but maybe not the Royal Rumble. And people say, "Oh, Punk's gonna be an entrant at the Royal Rumble." Punk is actually favored on one of the betting sites that you can actually wager real money on. Is that Punk is one of the top 5 people to win the Rumble, odds-on favorites. I'm
no
thinking,
way.
I'm serious. And I'm like, how is this possible, guys? Because people have just stirred up so much rumor that they're believing their own hype. And I'm like, Punk, do I think Punk's going to have a match in WWE before he ends up officially retiring? Yes. Do I think it's going to be at the Royal Rumble in 2020? No. I would not have Punk in the Royal Rumble match for so many reasons, but the biggest is you can't have Punk return at the Rumble. Number one, people are expecting it. Number two, you can't have him, what is he going to win? You can't have Punk win and then what? Go to main event of WrestleMania and lose? You can't have him win because he's not going to be the face of WWE anymore because that's really not where he's at in his career anymore. And furthermore, you can't. What are you going to have him eliminated? There's just so many bad reasons to have him in the Rumble. So if anybody's going to debut in the Rumble, I mean, Edge is more likely, if that was even likely. But I think Edge actually has a match at WrestleMania. There, for the first time since he actually retired in 2011 after his WrestleMania match with Alberto Del Rio, and he had the neck injury and how much he was risking paralysis. He, for the first time ever, actually had a physical interaction at SmackDown 1000 spearing Elias, I believe it was.
Yeah,
so
true.
That was the very first time, and that was a sign. WWE would never in their right minds ever allow a competitor to get physical in any way if they weren't medically cleared to do so. And that was a massive, massive positive sign for Edge. So I think there's some credibility to it. The rumors, people are going nuts. Would I bet money on it? No, but I would say it's like at a 1 to 10, I'd say it's like a 3 or a 4 likely that he maybe, I don't know if he debuts at the Rumble or returns, but between now and Mania, I would say we see Edge in a match at WrestleMania. I just don't know who he's against. So take that for what it's worth.
And he returned, wasn't it at the 2008 Royal Rumble?
2008, 09? Yeah, yes, he did. And he won the whole thing.
And just remember, like, that massive pop. So I could see it. Like, and don't get me wrong, I would love to see it because I am such an Edge fan. And if he's medically cleared, and I completely forgot about that whole SmackDown interaction or SummerSlam, wherever it was, but you're absolutely right. So yeah, I'm thinking about that now. You definitely could be onto something,
But don't listen to me because I'm the one. I'm the one that convinced you that Becky and Charlotte are going to win the championships, the SmackDown Women's Championship. So don't believe me.
Such a good segue.
I'm just a snake oil salesman. Don't believe me. I don't like. This is just what goes on in my head, and we get into these stories and we start to make sense to ourselves. But yeah, so that's my theory. Don't listen to me. Use your own head.
Yeah.
My theories are oftentimes just out there. So anyway, again, if you're going to put me in a position to pick Edge or CM Punk more likely, I think Edge is infinitely more likely because he's already involved in the WWE system. He's an active part of the roster, not in-ring competition, but certainly he has had a lot less problems in WWE management than CM Punk has. So, yes. Anyway, moving on, though, I wanted to also talk to you about what's been going on with Seth AOP. I know you and I both love that alliance. And now you have the other half of it. You have KO, you have Samoa Joe, and a third that just came along this week of Big Show, who I don't think is a mainstay in this whole story. He kind of seems more like a one-off or maybe a very short-term fill-in for their third partner against Seth and AOP. So how would you rate this whole storyline so far with this newly formed alliance as two individualists coming together to face a common enemy?
I really love the Samoa Joe, Kevin Owens tag team, or pairing, I should say. It's interesting because I never really pictured the two of them anywhere near being partners or cordial with each other just because of how strong their individual characters are. So I'm very intrigued by that. And I like the way they're pacing it and setting it up right now. It's not like they're just goo goo gaga over each other and like just forgetting any bad blood or any history in the past or even anything that they have done individually themselves, maybe not even against each other, but just in their own paths. But so I'm really digging this setup, and you can definitely tell, in my opinion, that Paul Heyman has his hands involved in this because this version of Seth Rollins as well is just, I'm so here for it. The Messiah, the Monday Night Messiah, right? Mm-hmm. That's the new moniker.
Yep.
I'm surprised there's not a t-shirt out yet with that, but I'm digging it. I'm digging it. He seems so comfortable in this role, and the AOP just looks perfect with him. The whole Big Show return really threw me off, and like you said, I agree with you. I don't see that being a long-term factor. in this scenario either. But that was an interesting return. Do you see him long term? Do you see him having a Mania match real quick, or what do you see happening with him? Do you see him being like a sacrificial lamb for the AOP, like for next week or something?
I mean, at this point in Big Show's career, I think it's more of being there to build other guys, and as it should be. I have no issues with his return. I actually popped for it because we haven't seen Big Show, they said, in 2 years, and I believe it. That was probably the biggest reaction he's gotten in about 10 years. Because I remember Big Show being out there every week and people kind of groan at it like, it's Big Show. And he'd team with Kane, and it was like he would be part of the Authority when that whole storyline ran on for infinity. And so there's really, like, I was excited to see Big Show, and I can't believe I said that, but it's true because it's been so long, and absence makes the heart grow fonder, and all that's true. So I was fine with the return. I think it is just a setup to, again, probably be the sacrificial lamb for AOP to plow through and Seth Rollins, and I'm totally fine with that. I see Big Show probably competing through WrestleMania, maybe ending at the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. I know he's won it before, but I don't see him in a one-on-one match. I don't. I don't think Big Show is in the position physically to do that. He looked kind of slow. I know his knees aren't great. So to put him in a multi-man match, maybe end up in the last three guys, and it could come down to Braun Strowman, Big Show, and whoever else. That's my guess is that that's where it ends for Big Show. This is a short 3-month run, and then that's it. As far as KO and Samoa Joe go, I love this pairing too. It makes sense. They've addressed the fact too that I like that they don't just say, "Oh, we're suddenly great friends," and they're patting each other on the back and kissing and all that stuff. It's they actually made it make sense that they are together because of the fact of they have an enemy of my enemy is my friend, and that we are two guys that have done really bad things, and we are coming together to take out a common enemy. It makes total sense. They have addressed what all the fans are thinking, and the psychology on this has been A+. Yes, Seth feels infinitely more comfortable as a heel. He always has. He always will. I never really embraced the Seth Rollins babyface character. Felt very forced. So I'm all for this. This, to me, every week I look forward to what is Seth and the AOP doing? What are Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe going to do? This thing all around is great. I have no idea what the hell a fist fight means for next week.
Right.
As opposed to every wrestling match that has happened since 1995. I don't know what a fist fight wrestling match is. Could you have any idea what that means?
No clue. No clue. But hey, I will tune in to find out, and that's the point.
It's just oh God, I really have no idea. I don't know how you can. It's almost. I don't know. I don't know what this is. It's a joke to me because they've been using closed fists. Every match is a fist fight. Every match, perceivably, is a fist fight. So I don't know what the hell this could mean. Maybe they'll turn it into something entertaining. I don't know. But speaking of entertaining, I guess depending on your definition of entertaining, though, what do you think of how the Lana Rusev, now Liv Morgan, and Bobby Lashley love quadfecta, this mess of a storyline, whatever this thing is, that has evolved into since we last talked? Are you enjoying this? Are you one of the on that end, or are you one of the people that just go, this is unwatchable, it's a train wreck, or somewhere in the middle?
I am, I guess, somewhere in the middle. I don't hate it, just because at this point, I'm just kind of numb to it. And I'm not gonna lie, I was intrigued to see how the wedding was gonna turn out, right? Because every WWE wedding ends up in some chaos. So I was intrigued to find out. Of course, Rusev had to be in the cake, but the whole Liv Morgan thing kind of throws me off, just because I don't really know how much they can get away with doing nowadays with it, and what the actual purpose of it is long term, right? So obviously they still had Liv Morgan on TV this week, and she was still referring to it. And if you follow them on social media, they have been posting pictures of each other together from back in the day, a year or 2 years ago. So it's just what can they actually get away with, and what can they do on TV with the storyline, and I don't know. I think we're starting to see signs of Bobby Lashley maybe getting tired of Lana. And maybe he could turn to being a face out of all this, because everyone's going to be so happy that he turns on Lana that they cheer for him. I don't know. And maybe he ends up facing Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Maybe this is Bobby Lashley's build to WrestleMania. Maybe he's going to go through this with Lana for a few more weeks or another month or so. Finally snap, turn on Lana, everyone cheers, and in some wonky way, he ends up at WrestleMania. I don't know, man. Stranger things have happened, right?
Yes, stranger things have happened, and I have, I gave this angle a chance, and I've said before, and I'll continue to say that this isn't the worst thing Vince has done, and that it's akin to, and I think the best analogy that I've heard is it's a train wreck that you don't want to watch, but you can't help but watch because you're so just intrigued as to how terrible it's going to be that it's almost good. It's the weirdest feeling that you have about this angle because it's Jerry Springer. Yeah, like I feel, and I said this on one of my shows, I don't know, I think it was last week, that I feel like I need to shower after I watch this angle. It's just, it makes me feel dirty that I'm watching. I feel dumber. Like I feel brain cells being evaporated as I'm watching. Every second that goes by, I'm starting to, my IQ goes down a couple of points, about every, 2 or 3 minutes. And but at the same time, I'm like, why am I watching this?
I know.
And it's weird that Vince will go, oh, look at the numbers. People are watching. But people aren't watching because they think it's a good story. I think people are watching because it's just trash TV that it's like Jerry Springer meets pro wrestling. I don't know. And Lana, I will say, for all of her beautiful gifts and all of her physical attributes, is awful, is god awful on the mic. Like, I understand that she's an amazingly beautiful woman. That's not the point. And as much as she is probably one of the most beautiful women in the world, that still does not negate just how awful she is on the microphone. Not to the point of, like, you're a good heel. It's, you are just terrible on the mic. Her cadence, her flow, her word choice, her stumbling, it's just uncomfortable to watch her on the mic. I think Lana is the one that, and the reason, unbelievably, that is one of the biggest reasons I'm not enjoying this angle. But then there's moments that Rusev will make me laugh. Lashley, as you said, showed signs of cracking this week, telling her to shut up, and you heard the crowd pop for that. Yeah, so I think that is a sign of things to come. It was just a quick thing, and then he didn't follow up on it and went on to talk about Rusev. So yeah, that could definitely be something there. The Liv Morgan Lana thing, certainly that is going to be something that's followed up on as we have Rusev and Lana, or Rusev and Liv go on to face Lashley and Lana. That's something coming down the line. So this whole thing is nothing more than your sports entertainment-y part of the sports entertainment show that some people love, some people hate. I'm more on the hate side, but at the same time, I can't help but watch, and I feel dirty.
Yeah, and really quick before we move on, what do you think happens to Lana after all this? Because I see Rusev and Lashley being able to bounce back, obviously, because they're in-ring competitors. But Lana, she was never truly an in-ring competitor. She had a few matches here and there, but that was never her main thing. Her main thing was being Rusev's manager or wife, sidekick, whatever you want to call her. So what does she end up doing? Because they can't get back together now, like after all of this, or at least no time soon. So I wonder what she ends up doing, or she just disappears after Lashley turns on her.
I would say
that would suck, after all this for her,
and Vince loves his blondes. Vince loves his blonde women.
Back. So
well, Liv is back, so maybe she can take her place to satisfy Vince McMahon's appeal for the blonde,
or just to take it into a
women,
different direction, because now the Lana phase or the Lana stage is phasing out. So I'll be curious to see what happens with Lana after all this. Probably more so than any of the other two guys, as odd as that is. Just out of curiosity to see what they end up doing with her.
Well, like you said, because everyone else in this storyline can go back to, wrestling.
Right, and they can save themselves.
The Lana wrestling experiment just didn't work. She's not good in the ring. I mean, I'm not saying it's easy. She's fine. I wasn't good in the ring, and that's fine.
Yeah.
So she could go back to a managerial role. That's I think, something she could do. Or as you said, just kind of disappear for a while. I think those are the two options. Either manager or go away and come back. And maybe if you want to try the in-ring thing, go back to Performance Center and train your ass off for 6 to 12 months and come back. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what her plans are, but once the storyline's over, very interesting to see where she lands.
Yeah, we'll see.
One other thing that I wanted to mention to you, as I was thinking about the Edge thing, I just wanted to touch quickly on this. Another thing that will give you a little bit more confidence in my wacky theories is not just that he speared Elias for the first time in, I don't know since he retired 9 years ago, but also Randy Orton mentioned Edge by name last week on Raw when he feigned his injury to get AJ Styles out there. He purposefully mentioned Edge, that how he had to retire because of a career-ending injury. And I've been reading through various sites that we all know that it was done on purpose, that was not just coincidence that Randy Orton mentioned
rated
Edge.
RKO.
So it could, I mean, oh my God, don't get me. Yeah, I mean,
no, but just like they could play off of that history, and have a one-on-one match at WrestleMania. Not
absolutely.
Team or team and then turn whatever. But yeah, dude, they have so much history. Wow, you're so right.
It's just these little things that, I mean, again, after my epic fail of selling you on the tag team women's win, don't listen to me. But just something else, food for thought there.
That is a valid point there. You have officially turned me. I'm a believer now.
Okay, oh crap! So here we go. I can't go 0 for 2 here. I can't.
Well, this
I will
is your
feel
chance
awful.
to redeem yourself.
All right. Well, then we'll talk again in like 3 weeks when we have our official prediction show. Let's see if you still have Edge as a surprise return. But anyway, so moving on though, there's a couple other things I wanted to touch on with you. I know that we're running up against time, but the other returns, I know we've seen the Usos come back. They've come back to help Roman Reigns with their haircut, which I like. I think it's a good look for them. They needed to certainly change, and they helped out Roman Reigns. And what do you think? First of all, we haven't really talked a whole lot about Roman Reigns on SmackDown, nor have we talked about Daniel Bryan. So Daniel Bryan and obviously The Fiend are having their Universal Championship match at the Royal Rumble. And I don't think it's really a secret that we probably think the Fiend is going to keep his championship. Yeah. But I know that I don't think we're really giving any state secrets away there. It's kind of obvious where they're going with that. But with the Usos' return, with Daniel Bryan really embracing the yes movement and also embracing the haircut, it's just like it's a sickness going on at SmackDown where people are getting their haircut left and right. What is your feeling on SmackDown so far? How are you enjoying the Daniel Bryan story, the Roman Reigns and Corbin? Just touch on SmackDown briefly.
SmackDown is interesting. SmackDown really feels like its own world in WWE land, if that makes sense. Or maybe its own country in the WWE world. We'll go with that. But the reason, and I'm glad you brought this up, because the reason also I chose Roman Reigns as an early prediction earlier was because of what he said on this past Friday SmackDown. When he was backstage with Daniel Bryan, he mentioned that he was entering into the Royal Rumble and he planned on winning, which is fine, whatever. A lot of people say that. But then he wanted to face Daniel Bryan because Daniel Bryan is planning on beating the Fiend, and pretty much Roman Reigns essentially kind of challenged Daniel Bryan to a title match at WrestleMania. So of course, a lot of guys are going to go out there and make their predictions and say that they're going to be the one to win and all that good stuff. But I'm questioning if this is another one of those little seeds to kind of see how fans react. Like if Roman says, okay, I'm entering the Rumble and I'm going to win, and he pauses, are people cheering? Are they booing? Are they silent? Like I think this is like a trying out period for Roman. Again, I'm not saying that's how I would want it to play out or my choice, but my prediction from WWE's side. Daniel Bryan's interesting because I don't think his whole character is finished with The Fiend. I feel like we're going to see him snap or maybe get abducted by The Fiend again and just turn, because it's just kind of weird to me. And maybe it is just me, but this whole Daniel Bryan, he gets drugged underneath the ring, his hair gets pulled out, he's gone for a little bit, and then he just returns and he's happy and he's positive and like nothing happened. He did mention that his daughter didn't recognize him and that, affected him, but I feel like The Miz is more traumatized by The Fiend than Daniel Bryan is right now. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely.
And the Daniel Bryan went through way more physically, in emotionally, if you want to be for real about it, than The Miz did. Yes, the Fiend hacked into Miz's house or whatever, and the doll was there, and that was creepy, but Daniel Bryan's hair was pulled out from his skull by the Fiend, or so we're to believe. So, but he's not upset by that, right?
He said he's the only one that didn't let the Fiend in, and he's the only one. Is that
really going to be the case? Is Daniel Bryan going to be the one?
I don't think so. I think, again, this is all groomed for Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. I really believe that one way or the other, whether Roman wins the Rumble or finds another way, he will be facing the Fiend at WrestleMania. I don't think there's any question about it. But having Daniel Bryan be the only one to not be affected by the Fiend is interesting. It is interesting, and it's also interesting that the fans decided to turn on The Miz, which I don't think they would have done had Daniel Bryan not turned babyface at the same time. I really believe that, because there was somebody bigger and better with Daniel Bryan, and then you remember the history of these two and the Talking Smack segment and all the talk that you want to see these two fight and the program they had when he finally did come back. So I think that, again, if Daniel Bryan had not done that, I think the crowd would have probably embraced and been more sympathetic to The Miz. It was just bad timing. And then The Miz officially, I think, turned heel this past week on SmackDown, saying that, "Are you kidding me? I've done everything for you," like yelling at the fans into the camera. And so I'm fine with it. I think The Miz is a better heel. I appreciate that they tried to run with it, but now you have The Miz in a more natural role, just as Seth is a more natural heel. I think The Miz is a more natural heel. And The Miz went on WWE backstage and started lashing out. And, he lashed out at CM Punk, which was interesting, and then CM Punk lashed back out at him, and his tweet was since deleted. I don't know if you saw any of that.
I did. Interesting.
So, yeah, interesting there, too. Again, I don't know how much I'd read into The Miz versus CM Punk. I don't think that would be his, dream return match. But, The Miz is an interesting guy, and I don't know if this is going to be the turn, too, of Daniel Bryan back to heel at the Royal Rumble. I think that they have enough heels. There's not a lot of strong baby faces that the crowd organically loves. And yeah, you could say, "Oh, Roman Reigns is their top guy." Not really. When you listen to the audience, is the audience reacting as positively to Roman Reigns as they do Daniel Bryan? Put them side by side. The answer is no.
No, absolutely not.
But positioning Roman Reigns would be, quote, your paper top babyface, but your true top guy is Daniel Bryan. I just think that the fans it's kind of like turning Stone Cold heel. They went with the ride, but they were kind of like, we don't really hate you. You're great in the ring. You're entertaining as hell. Just go back to your character we loved. And that's what I think kind of happened with Daniel Bryan. And now they're back, and he's got some momentum, and he looks like it's 2011 again, and Sheamus looks like it's 2011 again.
It's so creepy.
Isn't it weird? It's like he got a time machine just by cutting his hair.
Yes.
It's bizarre.
Unreal. Like, I was shocked when he took the hood off. I was like, is that really him?
Uh-huh.
I had to do a double take. I could not believe it. But isn't it ironic, really quick, that we're back in the same situation that we were in 2015, I believe it was, with Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan vying to be the top babyface?
Yep.
What are the odds?
Same damn. It's 5 years later.
Dude.
5 years later, we're still talking about this damn
thing.
Same thing. Oh my God. And I really don't know if Daniel Bryan's going to be in the Rumble. We all assume that if you're in a championship match, you're not going to be on the Rumble. That's not the case. Again, that happened in 2016 when Roman Reigns was in a championship match, lost the championship match, and then went into the Royal Rumble as number 30. Mm-hmm. We've seen it before, that just because you're in a match at Rumble doesn't exempt you from being in the Royal Rumble match itself. So be careful when you see these people. Again, Daniel Bryan and The Fiend. Say Daniel Bryan loses but enters the Rumble. That could happen. And apparently, again, I said this on my show last night, the only qualification for being in the Rumble is you just declare it, right? You just declare it. You just say you're in the Rumble, and then you're in the Rumble.
You should declare for it, Matt.
Yeah, I'm guys, I'm officially in the Royal Rumble. How about that? I am in the Rumble. I don't know what number, but I'm in it. Okay.
Might as well take 30. It hasn't been chosen yet.
No.
Right?
And I said, did you ever watch The Office?
No.
Okay, so that joke's not good.
Didn't. Yeah, I'm sorry.
All right, I was going to cut a joke, but I won't.
It's on my list.
Okay, no, I know everyone's like, you got to see it, It's like Breaking Bad, right? People are like, you got to see Breaking Bad, or Game of Thrones or whatever, So anyway, but So my point is, though, that the qualifications of being in the Rumble are you just say you're in it. There's no tournament. There's no win-loss record taken into consideration. You just say you're in it, right? And furthermore, all you have to do, if anybody wants to be number 30 or any competitor or any entrant, if you want to take somebody's place, you just have to attack them from behind and then just walk in the ring. That's all you got to do to go into the Royal Rumble. And furthermore, after you're eliminated, you can eliminate other people because that's how it works in other sports. So as much as I love the Rumble match, man, there are some glaring holes that I just would love to see WWE just modify or address.
Yes.
If you're eliminated, you can throw somebody over the top rope, but that doesn't mean that person's eliminated. It doesn't make sense. We see it year after year after year. I still love the Rumble, but some of those things just get me every single year.
Oh, me too. Me too. I complain about that every year. And it's just simple things that I feel like that they should address, but it's been, 30 years now?
Yeah.
I doubt
it's not going anywhere because that would handcuff them from a lot of the booking that they want to do. Whatever. I'm just going to learn to live with it. It's the world of WWE booking and logic. As much as like last year when Nia Jax entered the Rumble. Not only did she attack R-Truth, which if you attack R-Truth, suddenly that qualifies you to be in the Rumble. She's also a woman in the men's Royal Rumble. I don't know of any other sport in the history of the world that if you are of the other gender, and I don't want to get into, oh God, there's X amount of genders. I don't want to go there. Let's pretend, okay? And right now there's two genders. That if you are a man, you can't enter a woman's sport. It's just not a thing. I don't know. So like last year when that happened, I'm glad that she got RKO'd and got eliminated. It just made no sense. Like I know that they're going for the shock factor of her being in the men's Rumble, and I get that she's a powerful woman and she's strong, and I get it. But it just, from a sports simulation perspective, it's like, no, come on, no. I don't know. Imagine if a man entered the women's Rumble. People would be up in arms. So. Oh, yeah. God. Anyway. Yeah. It's just, we'll see some craziness, but I still love the damn show. I love it. It's my favorite. So I think I might have, one other thing I wanted to ask you before we close things out. What is your take on Becky and Charlotte, who's kind of floating out there, not doing a whole lot, and the recent turn of Lacey Evans turning babyface, and Asuka and Becky? Like, just kind of give your quick recap of how you're feeling about the women's division right now.
I'm here for the Becky Asuka feud right now. I'm happy that they are closing that story. Early prediction here, I see Becky winning and retaining and moving on to possibly Shayna Baszler, or if Ronda's going to return, obviously that. But yeah, I'm here for it. And I like that it feels like Becky is just being real with us, and Becky is at her best when she believes in something, and you can tell by her expression that the loss to Asuka really bothers her and it really means something, and this is really something that she needs to avenge. So I'm here for it, and I think it's going to be a phenomenal match. But I'm so here for it. And the whole Charlotte thing kind of confuses me because I truly don't know. Is she a baby face or a heel right now? I
don't know.
Right. So, and that's the thing, because I really questioned it when she was facing Natalia, or when she was out there the other night or the other week. I don't remember exactly when it was. But she was cutting that promo, and it seemed like a babyface promo. She was saying, how this is a new year, she's turning a new leaf, all this good stuff. And then she kind of went heelish a little bit, and then Natalia came out. But then Natalia was kind of acting heelish in the ring and like how she was responding. So I was just so confused. But Charlotte is kind of one of those characters where you can kind of not do anything with her, and then all of a sudden she shows up and it's believable. She can be away for a month or whatever and then come back and win a match and face Becky for the title. Ideally, is that what we want? Of course not, but it makes sense. But right now I don't really see anything that they can actually do with her on Raw. Do you?
No, I think that that they're kind of in a holding pattern with Charlotte. They have something in mind, and they're just treading water and spinning her wheels until they get there. I don't know if it's a returning Nia Jax, who apparently is close. Maybe we'll get a hint at the women's Royal Rumble match. We didn't really touch on that. But the Women's Royal Rumble match, certainly I think there's going to be some returns. It's going to be interesting to see what NXT women are included in that, as NXT has now solidified themselves as a third brand rather than just kind of the breeding ground for, quote, the main roster, which I think is pretty cool. I think that they're waiting for someone that they have in mind to get to the Royal Rumble, to interact with Charlotte, to get her to that story that they've been thinking about. Because she's just kind of floating around with Natalya. There's not a whole lot happening, which is odd, because I look at Charlotte, as you said, I don't know how to feel about her. She's still calling herself the queen and telling people to bow down to her. And I don't know. I'm kind of neutral, and I know that WWE likes to go, there doesn't need to be good and bad guys. There's shades of gray. Well, when you do that, you also create a kind of a lackluster reaction, because people don't know how to feel. So you need to have defined characters. And again, maybe this is by design, as they just kind of go through the motions of Charlotte until they get to where they need to be at the Rumble with whoever she's going to be going into a major program with. I love Asuka and Becky. That is a match that bothered me. It didn't just bother Becky. It bothered me to no end last year when they had her win against Becky, who was going to the main event against Ronda Rousey. And I still don't agree with it. I still don't understand it. Yeah, and I think it's just a happy coincidence that they went back to this match. I don't think this was by design that WWE said, oh, well, we'll have her face Asuka and we'll remind the fans of what happened here a year later. No. I think this is a happy coincidence, and WWE kind of stumbled into this like, oh, yeah, that's right. Asuka beat Becky last year, and now Becky has a loss to avenge. So I think it's just kind of just as Bob Ross would say, a happy accident. Yeah. And I believe that, and I think that this match could easily steal the show if given enough time. They work extremely well together. I remember their match that they had last year before WrestleMania, and I think that there's a lot that they can draw from. I'm looking forward to it. I like Becky's authentic kind of, I don't want to say fear, but a little bit lack of confidence against Asuka, who's had her number, and she hasn't beaten Asuka. So I don't know. I'm really intrigued by this. Do I think Asuka's going to win? Again, not a prediction show, but she has the women's tag belt. They're not going to make her a double champion. Asuka's just not in that position right now. Unfortunately, I think this one's kind of a lock, too, as we're kind of doing a prediction show before the prediction show, but some things are just so damn obvious, and I don't need the shock value of doing the opposite thing just for shock value. It just doesn't make sense for Asuka to win, but I'm expecting a hell of a match come 18 days from now.
Absolutely. Me too.
So, well, Ashley, I'm really glad to have you back. I know that the listeners are glad to have you back. Hopefully things calm down in your personal life. The next time that we talk, you tell me things are good and that things have calmed down. You're back to a regularly scheduled programming in your life. But before, of course, that we let you go, I know that you're also on another show and you do another podcast that's a video podcast and is available in multiple locations. So let everyone know how they can find that and any other social media that you want to plug.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And again, it is so great to be back. I love talking wrestling with you. And again, the hour just flies by. It's insane. But yeah.
We could have the Rumble match right now. I mean, we just had the length of the Rumble match.
We really did. But yeah, feel free to follow me on Twitter, at ASHMANNS. I do another podcast as well. It's called Wrestle Rewind. I will not be on it for the foreseeable future just due to scheduling issues, but I hope to make some appearances here and there. But definitely feel free to check them out. It's still an awesome show, and those guys are so knowledgeable about the product. It's Wrestle Rewind. They air every Tuesday at 8 o'clock now on Facebook, but you can definitely check it out later on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all that good stuff. But Matt, thank you so much. I can't wait to talk to you again before the Rumble. Our prediction show is going to be so much fun, especially with Lesnar in the match and all that good stuff.
I am pumped. I can't wait. I feel like I just had my prediction show without actually. Yeah, I know. So I'm looking forward to it. We'll be talking either that Saturday or maybe early. Well, no, it'll have to be probably Saturday because Sundays for me are just a disaster until later in the evening. But later in the evening is the pay-per-view, so we'll talk the Saturday night if that works for you.
Because of Friday and all that SmackDown. So yeah.
Yes, perfect.
Definitely.
So, oh man, take a breath. We're about to dive headfirst into WrestleMania season, so I'm pumped with returns on the horizon and rumored returns, and I just sold you on Edge. My apologies in advance.
Right.
And so,
no pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. Yeah, awesome. Make sure you call me out on Twitter next time too.
I will.
I want to be publicly humiliated. So.
I will. Okay, I will.
Awesome. All right, Ashley. Thanks so much for coming on, and we'll talk to you in a few weeks.
Absolutely. Thank you. Take care.
All right, you too. Bye.
Bye.